Just 10 years ago, Kenya's Ibrahim Hussein began what has become a legacy of marathoning excellence, winning 3 Honolulu Marathon titles, 1 New York City, and 3 more in Boston, in the process ushering in the world of the great Kenyan marathoner. Following in Hussein's Hawaiian footsteps has been countryman Benson Masya, also victorious 3 times in Honolulu and twice voted the world's best shorter distance road racer. In his second victorious year of '92, Masya brought with him 2 Honolulu lifelong friend Cosmas Ndeti to run his debut 26-miler. Finishing close on the heels of his lifelong friend, Ndeti later bloomed in Boston with 3 straight Boston titles. The Kenyan excellence has all come through Honolulu. Today on the island of Oahu, Benson Masya goes in search of an unprecedented 4th title in what has become one of the world's largest and most important marathons. The Sports Toddy Race of the Month is brought to you by Sports Toddy, the ultimate longevity fuel, and by JAL. Hi everybody, I'm Toni Reavis along with Steve Scott. Welcome to the pre-dawn start of a record-setting 23rd Honolulu Marathon.
And there are the cannons, the starting pistol and the fireworks overhead exploding. The 23rd annual Honolulu Marathon is underway.
This is the way to start a race, boy. I tell you, fireworks, a cannon to get the race going.
The pack of contenders is already well put together and they're very well bunched. And Johannes Mabitle, number 21 from South Africa, is the rabbit. He was 2:11:39 at the London Marathon. He was in the top 10 at London, so he's a legitimate world-class marathoner. He's the South African half marathon champion. So,
and his goal today is to take it out in 64, which if you run even splits would be a 2:08 marathon pace, which would really is a tough obstacle on a day like today.
78 degrees at the start time. In the record year of 1986, 59 degrees, nearly 20 degrees warmer at the start of this race. And of course, it's 5:30 in the morning, and all we're going to do is get warmer as this race goes along. There's 7 Koreans in this field, including a number of rookies in their debut marathon. But we've also got a Yi-Yong Kim, number 18, who has run a 2:11:54 at the Dong-A Marathon, the big marathon in Seoul, Korea in March. The pack is going to concern itself with the people they know they have to contend with all the way. The rabbit's been scheduled to go to the 25-kilometer mark. Johannes Mabitle right in front, doing his job. The Christmas lights are all set up along this stretch of road, and it really gives the Aloha spirit a little Christmas spirit addition as the runners head through downtown, and the park and the city are all lit up in their reds and golds and greens. And all the leading racers from Kenya, from Tanzania, from Ethiopia, from South Africa are right up there. And actually controlling that lead pack is Benson Masya. Looks very smooth, of course, wearing number 1 in the white.
Benson was hampered earlier in the season. He had a bad race in Boston, but was actually suffering from malaria at that time. Went back to Kenya, had treatments, got himself well, and then just really was focusing on this race.
It's a sign of his confidence that even with the weather at hand, and he knew it was going to be warm, he still thought, based on his training and his racing, that he was going to take a shot at a fast time, a course record time.
Well, when you listen to his training, it's no surprise that he's ready for this race. Say he was doing daily 20-mile runs in 2 hours. I mean, daily, not once a week. Daily runs. You do that kind of training, you're going to be ready.
And Josiah Thungwane from South Africa has actually gone into no man's land between Mabitle and this lead pack. Thungwane's PR is 2:13:36, set in Cape Town back in 1992.
And unlike a lot of the other athletes, Thungwane holds down a full-time job as a coal mine security officer.
Right, in long hours.
In long hours.
12-hour shifts. You know, Steve, you have horses for courses. And just like Cosmas and Ndeti, with his 3 Boston victories in hand, he can't be beat on the Boston course. But here in Honolulu, Benson Masya feels like he is just the man.
And his attempt at a 4th title continues right after this. Welcome back to the Sports Toddy Race of the Month, brought to you in part by DC Card.
Benson every once in a while just sort of looks around, checks out, okay, sort of counts heads. Says, okay, how many am I dealing with now? But he's always done that on his racing career. I mean, whether it's 10K, half marathons, he's always looking around, checking people out. And now and a couple of times he also asks for help as he pulls away. Benson made a little move there and literally just dropped him. I mean, it's almost like time to go get the lads up front. And that was about as much a no-nonsense a move as I've ever seen in the early stages of a marathon. It's like I've had it with you guys. You're not helping me, so what am I even hanging around with you people for?
Last year, Benson came in with 11 straight wins, and you had to wonder what he had left. This year, he came in with more focus, and all his races were geared for the Honolulu Marathon.
Well, our chase group has now become the lead pack, along with Mabitle and Thungwane, the two South Africans who have been running alone for about 3.5, 4 miles. And Masya has led that second pack of 5 up, and now we have 7 men. And Mabitle's job is a little bit easier. He now has company. The only other Kenyan left up there now is Jimmy Muindi. Jimmy Muindi is coming from the same village as Benson Masya, Machakos. And Josphat Ndeti, brother of Cosmos Ndeti, the 3-time Boston champion, is in this field, but he's already been dropped a little bit. All the Kenyans in the field are coming from that same small village in the highlands of Kenya. So this is there's sort of a battle within a battle for the Machakos Village Championship here in Honolulu today.
That's right, Tony. The three of them train together, and Benson is kind of like the outlaw of the tribe. He's just recently moved from Albuquerque, New Mexico to England. And it looks like the move has done him well because he raced extremely well the whole month of October in preparation for this race.
The two Kenyans, Muindi and Masya, who are running together, along with Motori Choloo from Tanzania. But up front, Mabitle, Mugali, and Yi-Yong Kim, who's in some ways maybe the surprise. He's got that little Sammy Lele, who just ran a 2:07:02, the second fastest marathon in history. In Berlin this fall. He's got that little hummingbird turnover, and Yi-Yong Kim's got that very similar sort of stride. I mean, it's just a little pitter-patter on the streets. He just sort of got those high RPMs, but he can do it for a long period of time. Last year, this part of the course was howling with wind, and now the trees are still.
There's just a nice gentle breeze. There's not really any wind to even speak of.
Johannes Mabitle continues to lead this pack out Kalanianeole Highway. Thungwane from South Africa right behind him. Little guy is just tucked right in and just drafting for all he's worth. And Jimmy Muindi, who's a very tall, striding Kenyan, who's been training with Josphat and Cosmos Ndeti for this race. And as a matter of fact, his training partner, Josphat Ndeti, has now joined that group, and behind is, so a couple of guys have kind of come up from behind and joined that lead pack, so we've got more people than ever before in this lead.
And really, which means that the pace is slackened up front. This is by far the warmest and most humid day I can remember for the Honolulu Marathon, and it's already begun to take its toll. We'll have more from the streets of the Kalanianeole Highway right after this break. Welcome back to the Sports Toddy Race of the Month, brought to you in part by Outrigger Hotels and Resorts. Discover Hawaii in an Outrigger.
Here we go, the half marathon, 106.43. 106.43 at halfway. They wanted a 104, but I think that was awfully ambitious because even the Rabbit couldn't run a 104.
Well, the important fact isn't the time, and there we see our Rabbit has dropped out.
Rabbit did his job as best he can, and he's just dropped out. And now it's almost like the second gun has gone off, and now the concentration and the forcing begins. And Thungwane is in the lead along with Jimmy Muindi, who looks marvelous.
As I said before, the important thing is not the time, it's the competition. We got a very nice lead pack, and we're going to have a really good race out of this, and that's what running is all about. And it's anybody's race still.
You can see that Thungwane has definitely picked up the pace now.
Well, really, Thungwane has done a lion's share of the work. He's the one that caught up with the Rabbit early on, stayed with him the whole way, and now he's still leading the race.
Thungwane first, Muindi Josphat, Ndeti, Kim, Choloo, Thungwane, and Masya.
And with the sun coming up, the wind has picked up considerably. You look at the palm trees.
And it's in there, it's sort of coming off the ocean. The ocean is...
It's a cross headwind that they're going to be facing now coming back in.
Time for this month's Power Bar Road Report. Power Bar, fuel for optimum performance. The day before the marathon, the Honolulu Marathon Association put on its very successful second running of the Waikiki Mile, a concept which bloomed last year. This year, 18 of the fastest women in the world gathered on Kalakaua Avenue to run out 800 meters and right back home. And what a barn burner it was. There's Regina Jacobs. She was second last year in the all-white, right there smack dab in the middle, with Maria Matola from Mozambique, number 6, right on the right of the screen, the most feared runner in the field, 3 times number 1 in the world at 800 meters.
Now, you wouldn't think that a group of milers would be battling it out like this in December, but these ladies are fighting it out for that $4,000 in prize money.
And a lot of bonus money, too, if they go under 4 minutes and 30 seconds. The course record, 4:29.9, set last year by Angela Chalmers. And when it came down to it this year, it was a 6-woman race with Irish champion Sinead Delahunty in the black and Boston's Kristen Seabury filling out row 2.
They went through 3/4 of a mile, still on record pace. They're on pace to go under 4:30 for a mile.
Maria Matola in the lead with Regina Jacobs, and Matola, not just in complexion, she just looks different from all those other athletes.
Oh yeah, you look at her compared to the others. The others are true milers. She is more of the 400, 800 type of physique. Her specialty is 800 meters. She's gone well under 2 minutes, and you can already see she's really putting the pressure on this field.
And Regina Jacobs holding on. Sinead Delahunty from Ireland is right there as well. But the others, they're history. And Matola looks around, sees Delahunty. Regina Jacobs on the inside. Well, always looks like she's overstriding. That's her style. Matola gooses it one more time, and she's powering away.
Look at that upper body strength on Maria Matola, but
Jacobs answers the challenge and now goes to the front. The crowd goes wild. This is what makes the Waikiki Mile so successful. And Matola's all out. And she
stopped short of the finish line. She stopped at where the start of the race was.
Almost knocked Jacobs into the 3rd row. She crosses in front right at 4:30. Delahunty in 2nd.
Susie Hamilton collapses in 3rd place, and Ruth Wysocki comes in 4th.
Last year, it was just as exciting. This has turned into one of the great instant traditions in all of road racing, really, the Waikiki Mile.
It's really got to be disappointing to Maria Matola. She's in the hunt to win the race, and then she doesn't even finish. But that's part of racing.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I think Maria misjudged the finish, and she was tiring out too. And I was feeling great, and I was ready to make the finish.
She actually pinned you against the side there at what she thought was a finish line, didn't she?
Yeah. She put her arm out and kind of ran into me, and it's a good thing I was still going forward. Otherwise, I might have gone into the crowd.
And we'll have highlights of the men's Waikiki Mile on next month's program. That's this month's Power Bar Road Report. Power Bar, fuel for optimum performance.
We're really entering a point here that every little hill, every turn is going to be a critical factor. You may see a guy make a move, you may see someone drop off, but we're getting to that point where anything a little bit different can cause an effect on this field.
Thungwane seems to have really picked it up a lot, and no one's
I think this is a legitimate move here, Tony.
And he looks good. He's very clear of face. We just passed the 18-mile mark, and he's got a little right arm whip going, but his face still looks very good.
The fat's most definitely in the fire at the Honolulu Marathon 1995. We'll see who gets the drippings right after this. Stick around. Welcome back to the 23rd running of the Honolulu Marathon. Today on the Sports Toddy Race of the Month.
And Thungwane seems like he's opened up a little bit more of a gap.
Right, but he's been running aggressively the whole day. I mean, that must have been his race plan going into this thing, was to put the pressure on throughout the whole event.
And Benson Masya, just like he did last year at this same point past the 18-mile mark, has made a move and broken up that pack as he goes after Thungwane. And he still doesn't look like he's running hard. He still hasn't pressed it. I mean, Benson's still got to go get him. I mean, Thungwane's not giving it to him. Benson Masya 3 seconds behind Josiah Thungwane at the 19-mile mark. 1:38.18 from Ogali in third place. Now the sun has come up over the top of the valleys, and it's behind the athletes, but it's a beautiful, beautiful dawn here in Honolulu.
And in third place, also from South Africa, Tabiso Mogali, who finished second here in the Honolulu Marathon last year and who also ran in the New York City Marathon. And you got to wonder what he's going to have left for this race.
You know, his countryman up front in first place, he ran New York, spent 5 hours in the hospital, took 2 IV drips, and didn't finish. He's the more amazing story.
You know, looking at Benson, you would think that he can cover that span at any time he wants, and it would also be to his advantage to be running right behind Thungwane instead of 20 yards behind. Since he hasn't covered it, you got to think that it's because he can.
Thungwane looks strong, and he's been running strong ever since, well, all day long, but he made the move coming out of Hawaii Kai. He gapped that pack, and then Benson decided to lose the pack, and they're gone.
This is a well-matched race. These two guys, as you said, are both sharp, both been racing well in October, similar PRs. This is going to be exciting.
We're just approaching the 20-mile mark here at the Honolulu Marathon. And Thungwane's been the most aggressive man all day long, Steve, but it must be dispiriting to realize that the 3-time champion is still not broken and is lurking.
Yeah, you ought to be scared when you know Benson Masya is sitting right behind you. But Thungwane's been the one that's been putting the pressure on all day. He went after the rabbit, and he's been in the lead most of this race.
Well, this is traditionally where Masya has done his best work in this competition. At some point, he's got to realize that Thungwane's not going to die on his own, and he's going to have to go after him. This is also the place where they get the most motivation from these 34,000 people streaming the other direction. So this is the best part of the Honolulu Marathon for the leaders. Honolulu this year is on the verge of overtaking the New York City Marathon to be the #1 largest marathon in the world. We're on a slight little upcline right now as we're going to just about get ready to get off the highway. Thungwane now looks a little bit distressed.
It was just the slightest little hill,
And it
was
just-
enough to do it.
Yeah. It's almost like he's been like a ghost, like a wraith, sitting right on this guy, just applying pressure from behind by not applying pressure.
Right.
We're right next to the Wailai Country Club, where a huge Korean contingent is set up. And Thungwane turns and Benson is right behind him. And Masya is just irrevocably taking to the front of this race. The last time we had a race this good was 1988 when Johnny Poli, again, was running against who we thought was Brant Nava from Paraguay, who turned out to be David Sebi from South Africa. Yeah, Thungwane we know is not from Paraguay. He's going by his real name, and he's making every effort to win this and steal this race. But it would not be stolen. It would be well earned.
It'd be well earned.
1 hour, 53 minutes, and 30 seconds into it, Masya, for the first time, has gone to the front of this race in search of his 4th marathon victory here in Honolulu. He would become the first man ever to win 4 Honolulu marathons. Duncan McDonald was the first winner of the race in '73 and went on to win 2 others. And a great Ibrahim Hussein, and now Benson Masya, with 3 under his belt already, has gone to the front.
There's a whole lot of racing left to go, though.
And we'll have more of it right after we take this break.
Welcome to another new dawn in Honolulu on the Sports Toddy Race of the Month.
If Benson was feeling good, he would have gone before this point.
Right.
He is just waiting till the very end, waiting to leave it to a kick. He knows he's probably got better basic speed, but who knows at the end of a marathon? And the unknown factor is what kind of speed does Thungwane have? We know Benson has got very good speed. We've seen it in Bobby Krim and a number of other different places. But Thungwane, we don't know.
Yeah, you go too soon. The problem is you go too soon and you can cramp up in an instant and lose it by making the wrong decision.
These guys have a lot of heart, Tony. They are both really in bed. They're in pain.
If you had to say if anyone deserved it, Thungwane sort of deserves it.
He definitely deserves it.
Now Thungwane has come up from alongside. The cops are clearing the road. 385 yards, that's how far they've got to the tape. The crowds lining Kapiolani Park will be thicker than ever as this day wears on.
Oh man, this is a great race. This is exciting.
No one's
Look at
giving
this.
up.
No one is giving up. They're
Still
matching
side
each
by
other.
side. This has got to hurt badly.
And there goes Benson. There's Thungwane.
The time
He's
is
holding him
irrelevant.
off. He's got Benson. Benson is
Thungwane
giving up.
did it. We said he deserved it.
He did the work, and it has paid off.
And he's going to deny Masya's fourth victory. Thungwane from South Africa hits it. 2:16.05 unofficially in the best Honolulu Marathon in history. And here's Benson Masya, a great effort. Finishing 10 seconds back, all but walking across the line, just spent as can be.
I guess what we said was accurate. He had nothing left. There was nothing he could have done in the later stages of that race. He was just hanging on.
And imagine how the other 30,000 plus people must feel, Steve, behind these guys. These are world-class runners. Masya getting ready by 150-mile weeks, and look what the conditions, the heat, humidity have done to these guys. Here's your winner. Look at the condition he's in.
I just feel sorry for the people that are going to be coming in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, even 10 hours.
A very dangerous day for marathon running. A 2:16 time on a day like this, extraordinary. It's even a tough day to watch. And here's our third place finisher, Jimmy Muindi from Kenya. 2:17.55 was his time. Again, very well trained. And behind him, his training partner, Josphat and Ndeti. He's in 2:18.30s.
Congratulations, Josiah. That was the tremendous heart you showed. What was going on? Tell us about the last couple of miles of the last sprint.
But I know his problem, but his problem is the 24 mile. But his stomach is still dizzy, but they still recover. There's 1 mile to go. Dan is still in pacing with these guys.
I mean, you were pointing at your stomach. You must have been cramping.
Yeah, it's because he's a cramp here. You see, but that's why he's the problem.
$22,000 goes to our winner, Josiah Thungwane, who really deserves every penny. Because on any other course, this would have been a 2:09 to 2:10 performance.
While we had the best men's race in the history of the Honolulu Marathon, the women's race really wasn't. Our 8-time champion, Carla Beurkens, you can see she's running very well, but with all the spitting and coughing she did, she came down with a high fever in Japan the week before and really wasn't herself. Last year's runner-up, Eriko Asai, was really running this race as a memorial to her husband who died in March of cancer. She finished well back. Second place went to Kenyan Veronica Kanga, who ran 2:39.35 and earned $11,000. But she finished a full 2 minutes behind our champion, Pauline de Rook of South Africa, who was looking for a sub-2:32 qualifying time for the South African Olympic team. The last 4 miles, very difficult, and she ran 2:37.29. On the hottest weather day in the 23-year history of the Honolulu Marathon. And yet the first time 2 South Africans captured a major marathon title, men's and women's. And congratulations to the Honolulu Marathon, its participants and volunteers for making it the largest marathon in the world with 27,010 finishers. I'm Toni Reavis for Steve Scott. See you next month out on the road.